The key message of this class is don't hesitate, because if you do, the consequences could be fatal. This class teaches you to run as the first option, hide as the second option. The toughest option is the third one, to fight. And today, 8 members of the staff here on the campus were taught what to do if fight is the only option left on the table.
8 and probably more of these incidents have been stopped by civilians. So it can be done. It's just someone that says, nope, not today. I'm not going out like this. And they take action.
That instinct kicks in and you're just wanting to protect everybody around you. I say it's the mother instinct, and maybe that's speaking from somebody who's very pregnant right now, but it just feels like it's very appropriate to be able to react appropriately.
Do you think you could do
it? I do. I feel like I probably would have reacted differently if I wasn't pregnant right now when we did the simulation, but I definitely, I feel like the adrenaline would kick in and you would probably.
Since they began this training back in 2016, some 2,000 students and staff have reportedly taken the class. In Greensboro, Bill O'Neill, WXII 12 News.
Lawmakers in the State House approved their version of the budget today. It's nearly $24 billion, and if it passes, educators and state workers would get raises, and it would set aside about $60 million for school safety. It also saves more than $100 million in the rainy day fund, but it looks a bit different from Governor Roy Cooper's budget proposal, so its future remains unclear. We have yet to see the Senate's version.
Two big headlines from Washington, D.C. tonight: terrific economic numbers and another conversation between our president and Russia's president. President Trump says he and Vladimir Putin talked on the phone today about the conclusion of the Mueller report. The president says Putin told him he knew there was no conclusion. When asked if he told him not to interfere in our next election, the president says they didn't talk about that. New jobless numbers are now out. They are the best since 1969. President Trump says it's the best economy we have ever seen. Well, it is a settlement for Minnesota's record books. How much one city will pay after a former officer becomes a convicted murderer.
Still ahead, it's a group that's no stranger to serving the triad. Details on an upcoming project that's a first in Habitat Greensboro's 32-year history.
And we've got some of those scattered showers still out there tonight. We're going to take a close look at those. And then the thunderstorms from earlier. How much rainfall can we expect also for Saturday? And the timing of our severe weather threat that develops on Saturday afternoon. It's coming up.
The truck driver investigators say caused this fiery and deadly 28-car pileup last month outside of Denver is now charged with more than 40 counts.
Yeah, the crash closed a major artery of I-70 for more than 24 hours. The flames were so hot it melted part of the road. More now from Reed Binion. It looks like we're having a little bit of a problem there with that Reed Binion story. We will try to get back to that in just a little bit. Meanwhile, the city of Minneapolis will pay $20 million to the family of an unarmed woman who was shot and killed by a police officer back in 2017. Justin
Ruschek Damon had called 911 to report a possible rape in the alley behind her house. When she approached the responding cruiser, she was gunned down by Officer Mohammed Noor, who was in the driver's seat. This week, he was convicted of murder and manslaughter. Today, the city announced the settlement with her family, believed to be the largest settlement due to police violence in the state's history. They had filed a lawsuit alleging her civil rights were violated and seeking more than $50 million. The settlement does call for Diamond's family to donate $2 million to a local foundation aimed at addressing gun violence. Well, folks, a bill to ban handheld cell phone use behind the wheel in North Carolina needs more changes before lawmakers say that they will support it. Concerns were raised in the legislature that the measure would punish drivers who are eating or even putting on makeup behind the wheel. The bill's sponsor says that he updated the proposal to address those very issues. The bill must pass the House before next Thursday, or it cannot be brought up again until 2021.
The DEA says last Saturday's National Drug Take-Back Day set an all-time record for participating partners and for collection sites. More than 5,000 law enforcement agencies all over the U.S. and roughly 6,400 locations collected and later destroyed close to 469 tons of medication. Since National Drug Take-Back Day began in 2010, the DEA has gotten 11.8 million pounds of potentially dangerous, unwanted medication out of the wrong hands. The next Take-Back Day is planned for this fall, October 29th.
In the last 32 years, Habitat Greensboro has helped house nearly 500 families. That mission continues tomorrow when work on a first-of-its-kind project begins. The organization will kick off construction on its inaugural Women Build House, the first house funded and built completely by women. It's going to take place in the 1400 block of Asher Downs Drive in Greensboro. The first wall of the home set to be raised at 10 a.m. Once it's finished, the home will be presented to a deserving family with 0% interest.
Well, we have quite a bit of interest in the weekend forecast,
Yes.
Particularly with, stop me if you've heard this before, the chance for severe weather on a weekend again. Michelle, it's coming to pattern here.
No, I can't seem to get rid of these storms for us as we get into our Fridays especially. It seems like every Friday over the last 5, we have seen storm chances or at least rain to start the day. We'd like to get rid of it, but look at this. So the next 3 days, we've got storms, yes, in the forecast and now extended into Sunday. The good news is Saturday may be drier to start, and timing out those showers and storms, that gets to be a little bit trickier as we head into the afternoon hours, but it's still looking late afternoon into about midnight late on your Saturday. You're looking at 60s overnight. We've got those passing showers. We still could see an isolated storm or two in here, but our severe weather threat for this evening has dropped. So the mountains, you're doing a little bit better than you were earlier. A few strong storms that we had this evening have started to die down, but there are a couple more that we're watching right now. Saturday, a slight risk for severe developing late in the day, and that includes most of North Carolina. And we're looking at lingering rain along with those storms that could pop up again along that cold front through Sunday. So several rounds of rain and storms still in the mix here. You can see those showers here, one line rolling in off the foothills. That has moved north and east, so a lot of that energy rolled out toward Martinsville. It did not really work its way through most of the tri. It started to work its way into Forsyth County and then fizzled. Got a cold front here. That's going to be the focus of where those showers and storms will form into Sunday morning. And then eventually we clear out heading into Monday. Right now, though, the scattered showers continue over Jefferson, Wilkesboro. We're still getting in some rain here. Some of this is pretty heavy at times, and we've already seen rounds of rain today bring in some 1 to 2 inch total. So some parts of western Wilkes could have pounding on the roadways, and you want to watch for those streams and creeks to come up there. Some localized possibilities of dealing with heavy downpours and could cause some flooding tomorrow if we continue to see the rain in the same spots. And they're watching a couple of cells here. We're looking at some of these showers and thunderstorms moving east at about 5 to 15 miles an hour, picking up a little bit of speed with this line here. And so this could impact folks as we continue over the next 24 hours. Look at that, 1 to 2 inches already in some spots. You're looking at Boomer, Mulberry rather, and Wilkesboro through 1041. We'd expect that line of showers to roll your way. Buffalo Cove also getting in on the action in Patterson, Kings Creek area. You might see those showers become isolated thunderstorms as well. Showers, though, lifting north and east, so the waves that have rolled through aloft continue to roll out of Tennessee tonight. Northern Kentucky, that's moving off to the north and east for us. And that slight risk of severe weather develops late tomorrow afternoon. It shifts south and east on Sunday. Concord out through areas into Raleigh, and the southern Piedmont will be included in that. So we start to finally work our way out by Monday. 63 in the Triad early tomorrow morning, 83 for an afternoon high. We drop you down into the early evening to 81. You might get a good bit of sunshine too early in the day, and then more clouds begin to fill in. We get that southwest flow, good southerly breeze and rain chances coming up later as we get into the dinner hour for the foothills and Triad, as well the mountains. You might see a few scattered showers to get going early morning, but a lot of this may form from the south, and as that develops in the south flow, scattered showers and storms becoming more numerous toward 5, 6 o'clock and continuing to ramp up for folks in the Triad east. Let's show you right now. You're at 73 in Winston-Salem, 61 in Galax, and we've got those highs today that were at 84, 75 typically. Yeah, really warm even in the mountains. As those rain chances continue for us, what we're looking for, the hour by hour showing us that the damaging wind risk continues to pick up, and that happens as we talk about your timing right around 4 or 5 o'clock, and heavy rain to follow along with some hail. We could see some quarter-size hail. Have not had hail reports tonight, but some trees down out in Wilkes County earlier. You can see here the hour by hour forecast, the 60s, and yeah, the showers and thunderstorms starting to pick up as we get into 4 o'clock. Popping here and there, and then some lines may form as we go into 9, 10 o'clock, and even overnight another round possible through early Sunday morning. So those are the main concerns right now. We also have Kernersville Spring Folly that was going on tonight. Tomorrow we expect more showers and thunderstorms later, but we might be able to get in that Highland Games over at Bethabara Park without too much trouble. Maybe a little mud on the ground. 83 degrees on your Saturday, 79 Sunday, and storm chances ending to bring 80 back Monday through most of next week, before storms are back for next Friday again. We'll be back with more.
All right, how many times have parents heard this argument before? All the other kids are doing it, why can't I?
These days, that argument is around a smartphone. Now, a growing number of parents are pushing back and holding off until their children reach one particular grade.
Erica Edwards has the story.
How was it?
The realization that kids as young as first and second graders were using smartphones convinced Brooke Shannon that her 3 daughters should grow up a little more old school.
There were so many children in our elementary school that were going through the day with their heads down instead of their heads up.
The Austin, Texas mother was concerned about cyberbullying, as well as the impact of too much screen time on developing brains. She started a movement called Wait Until 8th, in which families pledge to hold off giving their children smartphones until at least 8th grade.
It really takes the pressure off, I think, for a mom and for a dad to not have this daily debate or weekly debate on when their child's going to get the phone.
The tech-free idea went viral. Now 20,000 families in all 50 states have taken the pledge, their attempt to allow kids more opportunity to be kids.
Playing outside, being with friends, reading, being bored without this constant distraction of the smartphone.
And enjoy more real-life FaceTime. Erica Edwards, NBC News.
And we have much more coming up in our final half-hour news this Friday night. You're going to hear from a woman who just found out she will not be deported. We've been following her story now for more than a year.
And new developments in the legal case involving a Rockingham County-based gun maker and those who lived through the unfortunate Sandy Hook school shootings when we return.
You're watching WXII 12 News on the Triad CW.
Thanks for staying with us. Take a look here. The Midwest beginning and ending the week with severe weather. This is a bird's eye view of major flooding in Missouri.
The Mississippi River is at record levels in some spots. Voluntary evacuation still in place for a few communities as some residents are instead choosing to ride it out, hoping that sandbags and A little bit of luck and a little bit of prayer might be able to get them through it.
The storm system that's bringing all of these problems to the Midwest is heading our way.
We certainly hope it weakens when it gets here. Let's get to Chief Meteorologist Michelle Kennedy. Michelle, threat for severe weather tomorrow went up a little bit today. Where is it right now?
Yeah, right now we're under that slight risk for tomorrow, and we can thank the cold front, a little bit of energy aloft, and of course the heat that we've had over the last couple of days. We're also seeing that breezy weather. That breezy weather is going to be with us through tomorrow. It's going to continue to pump in some Gulf moisture for us. We also have out ahead of the front these little waves of showers and storms. We've seen a few tonight, actually. Isolated severe threats earlier tonight have now died down, but we still have some showers rolling into the foothills, and these are creating some very heavy rains for us there. 73 though in Winston-Salem, 72 in Greensboro. Most folks have stayed dry. Had a few passing quick sprinkles and showers earlier. Those thunderstorm threats though and a severe activity tonight has since diminished. Tomorrow it changes to a slight risk area. You see that includes Jefferson all the way east through Chapel Hill and parts of Raleigh along 73, and then the area begins to move down to the south and east with a marginal risk for Sunday. So we start to work those severe thunderstorms out late Saturday night, and by Sunday morning between 4 and 6 a.m. we could have another round of severe before we finally see that cold front move through. Your forecast continues to take us into the showers, the thunderstorms by around 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and then through the late evening hours those scattered storms really ramp up, and that's similar conditions for the foothills from 60 to near 82. Your rain chances eventually at 70% out there for the folks in the mountains. Scattered showers and storms also may start to develop a little bit earlier in the day, but it should be isolated in nature. Most of us get pretty dry early part of the day with some sunshine, and then those thunderstorms, really the best storm chances beginning late day. We'll have much more for you coming up.
All righty, Michelle, thank you very much. And whenever the weather takes a turn for the worse, you can count on the WXI 12 News app to keep you connected with whatever's going on. You can even sign up for customized alerts and check out our interactive radar and video forecasts from our weather team.
A Wilkes County community is mourning the death of two sisters killed in a head-on crash. 16-year-old Cassandra Gilbert and her 12-year-old sister Madison were killed. They went by Cassie and Maddie. Cassie attended West Wilkes High. Maddie went to West Wilkes Middle. Highway Patrol says that Cassandra tried passing a school bus when she hit a pickup truck head-on on Sparta Road. Friends say that the sisters were full of smiles and ambition. Right now, a GoFundMe page has been set up to help the Gilbert family with funeral costs. We do have a link set up on our website, WXI12.com, for anyone who would like to donate. The driver of the pickup was injured and was last listed in critical but stable condition.
The Connecticut Supreme Court has temporarily halted legal proceedings in the case of Sandy Hook families who are suing Rockingham County gunmaker Remington. The court granted a stay to Remington Arms as the company prepares to file an appeal with the U.S. Supreme Court. A survivor and families of the Sandy Hook victims say Remington is partially to blame for the 2012 massacre because of how it marketed its semi-automatic rifle, which was used in that fateful attack. The stay means Remington Arms will not have to turn over more evidence to plaintiffs as the justices decide if they will take up the case.
Tonight, the Triad CW sits down with an undocumented immigrant in the Tri that we have been following for over a year. Minerva Garcia was at the center of a deportation tug-of-war. Big battle here. She found out yesterday that she can continue living in Winston-Salem with her children as she has for the last 20 years. Garcia talked to our Margaret Johnson about what's next for her and others going through the same fight.
Well, this has been a long, tough, and emotional battle for Minerva Garcia, so you can imagine the relief now that it's over.
Very happy. Very, very happy.
Happy that a federal judge just granted her permanent legal status, which means she is now a legal resident of Winston-Salem and doesn't have to worry about being deported. Kim Porter is one of her biggest advocates. She's almost in tears.
I'm just happy. I'm happy for Minerva. I'm happy for her children, most of all, her 3 sons, who've been through heck and back, you know, not knowing if their mama's going to come home.
Garcia calls this the best day of her life. Now she can take her children to Mexico to see their grandmother, who they've never met.
Which means you just can't come knocking on her door. They can't come to her work. They can't come to church and snatch her up.
Advocates say there are thousands of others like Minerva Garcia waiting in limbo. She is the only undocumented immigrant who lived in sanctuary in North Carolina to be granted this status. Garcia said she had faith even though the judge ruled against a man whose case was heard just before hers.
It was worth it.
I think it's worth it to work for you think you deserve. I think I went through too many things, hard things, and I think this is the moment I have my rewards. And I think this is the best reward of my life.
She thinks her happy ending is largely due to the 38,000 signatures she got from supporters and the national attention her case garnered. She urges all the others to hang in there.
Don't give up. Don't give up, and have the faith and the faith on God. Their dream gonna come true, and one day they're gonna be celebrating like I'm doing it right now.
Minerva says she just wants to live her life just like anyone else. She can apply for citizenship in about 3 years. In Winston-Salem, Margaret Johnson, WXII 12 News.
The Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Board of Education has called a special meeting to discuss the possibility to take action on the preliminary budget for the 2019-2020 school year. The special meeting is set for 5:30 on Tuesday afternoon before the final public forum in the district's search for a new superintendent. The final forum is set to get underway at around 6:30 at East Forsyth High School in Kernersville. There's also going to be a forum tomorrow at 2 o'clock at Carver High School. Parents, students, and staff can give their input and what they want the next school system leader to be.
The district is looking to add to its workforce through its employee recruitment fair, which is happening tomorrow. It runs from 9 until noon at the Joel Coliseum in Winston-Salem. Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Schools is also in need of bus drivers, maintenance workers, HVAC folks, and people in similar trades. If you're interested and have those kind of skills, bring multiple copies of your resume and prepare potentially to be hired in an on-the-spot interview.
Much more to come on the Triad CW, including a story of a South Carolina driver dealing with a case of shell shock.
And into the eye of the storm, it's being called the most ambitious investigation using drones to seek out what traditions can trigger tornadoes. Research that could save lives and more. That's next. This is WXII 12 News at 10 on the Triad CW.
I still don't understand how it, like, the exact angle of that tire for it to just fling into my windshield.
Really bizarre case after a flying turtle shatters a man's windshield as he drove down Highway 501 in South Carolina. Yes, we're talking about a flying turtle here. Authorities say the rear tire of a truck near him hit the turtle and sent it airborne.
John Gardner says he had no time to react to what appeared at first to be a big black dot coming straight for him. He was fine. The same cannot be said for the turtle that was lodged in the windshield, though. His car sustained about $2,000 worth of damage. Well, there is no sneaking up on one snake in Australia. Have a look at what Parks and Wildlife Rangers found just last week.
An X-ray of its head revealed one skull with an additional eye socket, complete with 3 working eyes. The 15-inch python was discovered along a highway. It was dead. The Wildlife Commission named it Monty. All eyes will be in Louisville, Kentucky tomorrow for the 145th Run for the Roses. Here's a beauty shot of Churchill Downs, site of the first jewel of horse racing's Triple Crown.
Weather may impact the race, with rain expected throughout the weekend, which would muddy up the track. Say it with me. His mutter was a mutter. The Kentucky Derby kicks off at 6:50 tomorrow evening over on WXII 12. NBC's coverage begins at 2:30. And because of that, there will be no WXII 12 news at 6 on Saturday, but there will be a 6:30 newscast right here on the Triad CW. We're back in a moment. Drones are soaring into the skies over the country's heartland to help researchers find better ways to predict tornadoes. It is the most ambitious drone-based investigation of supercells ever.
And this comes as powerful storm systems have been sweeping across the country this week. Andrew Ozaki, who takes us to Lincoln, Nebraska, and talks to 2 of the men leading up the effort.
Dramatic video flying into the eye of a supercell taken from a drone. Researchers, including some from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, proved it could be done.
What we were able to demonstrate was that we could do this. We could fly into storms, we could collect data. More importantly, we could collect data that you could actually use for science.
Now, Adam Houston, Associate Professor of Atmospheric Science at UNL, will lead a team of more than 50 scientists and students from 3 other universities in a $2.5 million study using as many as 4 unmanned aerial vehicles to seek out what conditions trigger tornadoes.
So if you have multiple points distributed across the storm, you can say, how is the rear part of the storm evolving at the same time that the front part of the storm is evolving?
The drones can collect valuable data such as temperature and pressure above the ground, which is currently unavailable.
That's the void the unmanned aircraft can fill.
The goal to improve the conceptual model of tornado-forming storms and reduce the 75% false alarm rate.
I mean, that means that 75% of all tornado warnings don't actually produce, that the storm doesn't actually produce a tornado.
The team makes final preparations before they hit the road mid-May, covering a 370-mile square area of the Great Plains. They have a fleet of specially equipped vehicles.
And so inside you'll see that there are computers.
Designed to help researchers track storms and gather data from the ground and sky. Graduate student Alex Irwin is a meteorologist.
Constantly monitoring weather data as it comes in and navigating our crew into the right position.
They will live like nomads for a month, not knowing where the storms may take them.
We hope that this is a fruitful research, but safety is the #1 thing always.
The researchers hope their study will help forecasters better predict when dangerous storms will hit.
Even if just enough of a difference is made that one life is saved from this research, would make it absolutely worth it.
And that was Andrew Ozakak reporting for us there. Some interesting technology. Yeah, absolutely. Anything that could get people to hone in on those tornado warnings just a little bit more.
Yes.
And